Now, you got to be wondering, where's Joe? Where's Kamala? Where's the people's governors, congressmen, congresswomen down there where the hurricane ravaged? So Trump went to Georgia. Salute you, sir. Thank you for putting Americans first, unlike Democrats. Democrats will put everybody else in the world other than the people they're actually supposed to be representing. Donald Trump, not even president, basically just a citizen right now, goes to Georgia and walks amongst Americans, the people, starts a GoFundMe, talks to them, brings them gasoline, brings them goods and services that only he can get at the level of which he's at, because guess what? He's not president. Joe Biden's president. Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. I don't want to jump the gun here, but former President Donald Trump visited Georgia on Monday in the aftermath of Hurricane Helen, and he called for everyone to set politics aside as much of the southern eastern United States recovers from damages wrought by high winds, devastating floods, and debris flows. Folks, they got destroyed. So here's Donald Trump down there at the site. Again, where's the Democrats? Nowhere to be found.
The country is in the final weeks of a hard-fought national election. But in a time like this, when a crisis hits, when our fellow citizens cry out in need, none of that matters. We're not talking about politics now. We have to all get together and get this solved. We need a lot of help. They have to have a lot of help down here. We look out for one another. We pull together. We pitch in. We persevere, and we pull it through. That is really the American spirit. That's what made America originally great. And that's why today I've come to Valdosta with large semi-trucks, many of them, filled with relief aid, and a tanker truck filled up with gasoline. We have a couple of the big tanker trucks filled up with gasoline, which they can't get now. And we'll be working to distribute it throughout the day. And I want to thank again Franklin Graham and everyone at Samaritan's Purse. You people are fantastic, by the way, just fantastic. And people.
Do you notice he always calls out people when he's at rallies for their hard work, the things that they're doing well on, and then he also calls people out for not doing their job well, like Joe Biden, like Kamala Harris, like Alejandro Mayorkas, like John Kirby, like Karine Jean-Pierre, like Anthony Blinken. It's remarkable. Like AOC, like Ilhan Omar, like Rashida Tlaib. It's astonishing. Like Chuck Schumer, like Nancy Pelosi, like Gavin Newsom, like Tim Walz. It's astonishing that you could sit there and just call these people out off the top of your head without a thought. Without a thought. So Donald Trump goes down there because that's what a president looks like, you guys. That's what it's amazing how he also went to East Palestine, Ohio. Remember that there was that train derailment that put toxins into the sky and then it fell into the water supply and all the vegetation? Nothing. Where was Joe? Nowhere. For years. Nowhere. Donald Trump shows up to East Palestine, Ohio. Hurricane, specifically Helen, because there's going to be more, shows up to Georgia, offers relief. Gasoline people can't get. Anybody knows when there's a hurricane, it's like one of the toughest commodities to get. Brings oil tankers in. Joe's sitting there in the Oval Office, drooling into a drip tray. So Trump jabs at Biden's poor response to Hurricane Helen, and rightfully so. I think he's sleeping right now, actually. Yes, Mr. President, he probably is. It seems like a joke, but it's really not. Depending on what hours of the day this is, Joe could very well be sleeping. Yes.
And have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
Here's the thing. If you look at Trump's face, he's not smirking or laughing. It's probably the case. This is who Democrats vote for, a president that's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Donald Trump shows up on site, is walking around, displaying what's going on. How can we fix this? He doesn't have the entire federal government behind him.
Mr. President, what do you think of Governor Kemp's response to the storm? Mr. President, what do you think of Governor Kemp's response to the storm here in Georgia?
The governor's doing a very good job. He's having a hard time getting the president on the phone. I guess they're not being responsive. The federal government is not being responsive, but they're having a very hard time getting the president on the phone. He won't get on, and of course the vice president, she's out someplace campaigning, looking for money. So they have to be focused over here. It's too big. This is a really bad one. And the governor's doing a good job, but he's having a hard time getting the president on the phone. They're being very non-responsive. We're also going to be going or talking with North Carolina. We're trying to get them hooked up with communication. They're totally closed right now. North Carolina has really been hit hard. Really, really been hit hard. The hardest. And we can't even get in there right now. And there are a lot of people that have been injured or worse. Very bad. North Carolina. We're working with the people in North Carolina now to get them hooked up for communication. And in the meantime, we're at Valdosta, and we're with the mayor and congressman and everybody else. We've brought a lot of supplies. We're with Franklin Graham, who's been always fantastic in these cases. Nobody better. He does with Samaritan's Purse. He's done an unbelievable job. And how is it going, Jeff?
It's a little hard to hear, but he's talking about the volunteers and kind of the work that they've really carried out. I can't emphasize this enough. Donald Trump is just a citizen, just like you and I. Granted, he has a lot of connections. A lot of people want to donate. He started a GoFundMe. But again, where's Joe? Joe, where you at, buddy? You sleeping? Do you need to be woken up? It's frustrating to me. And we'll get to where Joe's at. Oh, don't worry. Now, if you heard in Donald Trump's message there to the press, because again, he's the only one that talks to them. Kamala Harris won't do it. Joe Biden, hell, he can't be found. Don't worry, we have clips of that. No, I'm jumping ahead, but don't worry, we'll get there, folks. We got a lot of stuff prepared, a lot of stuff. Just like Donald Trump has a lot of stuff prepared for people in Georgia and North Carolina. Trump says Musk providing Starlink to areas impacted by hurricane. Calls him up, hey, Muskie. I know I need you to sit there and chisel away at the government spending, but I also need Starlink. And they send in Starlink. So, former President Donald Trump said Monday that he has spoken with Elon Musk about getting Starlink set up in areas impacted by the flood. Trump made the remarks about the efforts from Musk. Notice there's no call to Musk from Joe Biden. Do you guys notice all this? I know you do, patriots, but I'm mostly talking to the Democrats and liberals that somehow weaseled their way in here. You notice that our president, Joe Biden, isn't doing anything? He says he is. Oh, we'll get there. Oh, we can only do so much relief. We've given it everything we have. And there's people, boots on the ground, going, never seen the guy. Haven't seen any federal response already. Like, it's not like you knew the hurricane wasn't coming. You know what I mean? Like, this is just like, holy crap, where did this thing come from? It's been on the news for a while. Yeah, you could have, like, planned in the areas of which it's not going to sit there and happen. And then have everything flooding in. Get the cameras out there, the brigade, the caravan of cars and gasoline tankers flying in. You know what I mean? Completely baffled. Where'd this hurricane come from? Wake up, Joe! Kamala, wake up! Hello! Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater, Trump said. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it. And every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit, we're going there also. They don't have communication. They don't have anything right now. And so Donald Trump is sitting there trying to get things going, trying to get things moving. So here's that clip again.
Homes, hospitals, highways, and cars have been plunged underwater. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into lakes. Nobody's seen anything like it. And to every family that's been displaced here in Georgia and North Carolina, which has really been hit. We were going there also, and they don't have communication. They don't have anything right now. We're trying to. I just spoke to Elon. I'm getting him. We want to get Starlink hooked up because they have no communication whatsoever. And Elon will always come through. We know that. And so we're working on that, getting them hooked up. They asked me whether or not that would be possible. And we're going to try and get the Starlink in there as soon as possible because they have no communication. And throughout the region, our hearts are with you, and we are going to be with you as long as you need. It's called an hour of need. You're in our prayers, and we pray to God. And throughout the long weeks that lay ahead, you're going to have a lot of work, but the end result is it's going to be good. We just wish so many people weren't so badly hurt and in many cases, sadly, no longer with us.
I mean, sheer devastation. Good on President Trump for making his way down there. And it's not just all of us that see this, by the way, like Joe's not there or Kamala's not there. No response, right? Well, it's also Fox News and others that see this.
This is what leaders do. And in the end, this is what Trump has done. Trump was there first. He endears this sense of confidence. He's going to fight for us. And we've seen this is a pattern of behavior by Biden and by Harris, where whether it's Maui, where they give $700 to each resident, but if it's Ukraine, they're on the ground with another $10 billion, whatever they need. East Palestine, who's there? Donald Trump with pizza and water. They show up a year later. This is about leadership. It's not about being embarrassed into having to show up somewhere. And, congratulations, you went to FEMA. You've got to go to the people. You've got to go to the people who can't see this. Because I've been in a flood. We lost our house in a flood. We thought there was no future. We didn't have insurance. We lost everything. You rely on the Red Cross for food, the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure that you can drive and that you can go across the bridge. I mean, there's so much more than going to FEMA and making a political statement.
Well, it makes sense, Judge, why she went to FEMA. In the same way, she doesn't go to where the disasters are. She doesn't go to where the invasions are. She doesn't go where things are being impacted. Case in point, the invasion happening at the southern border. It was her first time ever down there. Just last week or this week, one or the other. Yeah, her first time down there. She flew over the border. She flew over the invasion, over the disaster. Her and Joe don't go there. They can't step foot there. It's too icky. They don't want to get their feet wet. See, that's the thing. Is now, granted, they didn't cause the devastation from the hurricane, obviously. But the devastation that they do cause, whether that's the massive illegal immigration, the murders, the crime, right, the smash and grabs, whatever is taking place that they've caused because they don't want to have consequences, they want to defund the police, they don't want more police in inner cities, they want all these things to take place. Yeah, they don't ever go there. Oh, no, they could never step foot in there because it's too icky. It's too bad because they destroyed it. They destroyed it. Folks, you want to know how bad the response is from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Do you want to know how bad they are at their job? Even CNN, even CNN's going, yeah, it's pretty bad, Kamala Harris and Joe. I mean, Trump is really out there for the people. Yo, it's bad when CNN is complimenting Donald Trump.
Being treated not just as a former president, but almost as though he is a sitting president. As Boris, you just noted, getting a briefing from FEMA, getting a briefing from the National Guard. That is not something that is typically just offered to a candidate. They are treating him as though he is a former president who is there to help. And one thing that I had noticed earlier during our 1 p.m. conversation was that Donald Trump did not have that much to offer in terms of resources since he is not a sitting president. But I will note that he and the campaign say that they have arrived in that area with trucks full of supplies that they plan on giving out. So there is something there for them to offer. He also said that he had a tanker truck full of gasoline, which obviously, if you've ever covered one of these storms, you understand that one of the first things and hardest things to come by is gasoline. So he said that he was going to be giving that out. He is clearly taking this seriously as a politician is on the ground, trying to show that he is there in support of the people on the ground in Georgia.
So where's Joe? Where the hell's Joe? By the way, folks, if you haven't already, hit that like button. It really does support us. It helps push our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. Get the Bald Bread Army moving, baby. We got hundreds of people in here. Let's get those likes up. It'd be greatly appreciated, folks. It is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Just costs you a push of a button.